This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and for the first time this year, I'm joined by esteemed trainer Peter Fury over Zoom. Peter, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Pretty good, Andy. Just getting on only a few days now when we're into the fight.
Let's obviously go straight onto that. Savannah Marshall returns to the ring, defending her title for the first time. It hasn't been an easy road to get here, though. Obviously, opponent pulling out at late notice, trying all your might and all the team's might to get a replacement in. You've got a replacement now, but just talk to me about these past couple of weeks and for kind of trying to juggle the situation.
You know, it ain't been so bad. We got told last week that she's had difficulties, her original opponent with COVID. So, you know, we've kept to their schedule. So they found another opponent, which is just as credible as the last opponent. So it'll be a good fight. So it's all systems go.
The new opponent was announced only a couple of days ago, but during fight week, with regards to your own preparations, your own plans, how does it change things?
I prepare the fighter for all eventualities and different styles. She spars a lot of different styles, southpaws, everything. So she'll be able to adapt, no problem.
So from what you know, Peter, what do you know about the new opponent in Maria Lindberg?
She's quite a good, got good boxing skills. She can go the distance. She's tough. She's always in shape. She's fit, and you know, she brings it. So she's a trier, and yeah, I'm sure she'll put up a good fight.
We obviously saw Savannah produce a brilliant performance to pick up that WBO title against Hannah Rankin. Moving on from then, in this camp, have you seen like kind of a switch in her mentality? Have you seen us like stepping things up? Have you seen even more of a hunger and a desire within her?
Not really. She's always had the hunger, and she is what she is. But now she's a world champion. She's just got that little bit of edge, aura of confidence.
Obviously, there's a lot of talk moving forwards, Peter, about what could be next for Savannah. The Claressa Shields fight continues to be spoken about. Do you see that being the next bout for Savannah, provided Saturday goes to plan?
I'm glad you said Saturday goes to plan, because that Saturday going to plan, it's all fresh air. So, you know, look, you're a fight away from mega fight, or you're a fight away from disaster. This is boxing. So she's not taking this opponent lightly. She's had a 3-month training camp, and we're just looking forward to Saturday night. And, you know, the big fights will come. We'll have to just see. You know, I don't like talking about fights when they're not here, they're not signed, and they ain't done. I've got better things to concentrate on. But will that fight happen, in my opinion? Yes, definitely.
I mean, just with this kind of week, were there any doubts in your mind that a replacement opponent would be able to step in?
Well, there's always a doubt on the last minute, but, you know, was confident. The team's done a great job. So they've, you know, they need max credit for getting an opponent as good as this at short notice.
Peter, so I just want to get your thoughts on the rest of the card and a few other fights coming up. Conor Ben versus Sammy Vargas. Conor Ben impressed a lot of people against Sebastian Formella last time out. What do you make of this fight now and another step up for him?
Well, I like Conor Ben. I think he's, I definitely think he's one to watch going forward. He's improving immensely. He's got his head screwed on. He seems to say the right things. He's, you can see he lives and breathes this game. You know, he just says what he thinks as well. So he's a good fighter, and he's coming on. So I rate him, and I expect him to come through this fight. I think he's big business for the future of boxing in that division.
Peter, I'm sure you've watched his father Nigel box, but pretty much throughout his entire career when he was around. Do you see any similarities between the pair of them?
I think they're very similar in the scenarios, yeah, because, you know, they like to put them lovely shots together. You know, there's plenty of power in them. You know, so the styles are very similar, but you know, his dad was an exceptional fighter. You know, and you know, the exciting fights he's had. So I wish father and son all the very best. And it looks like he's got a son that can just be as good as, if not better than, the dad, and that'll take some doing.
Peter, just moving forward once again, another fight on this card, which is certainly kind of sparked a lot of imagination this week, is the Shannon Courtenay Ebony Bridges one. Your thoughts, Peter?
I don't know. I've not seen Ebony Bridges fight. I'm sure she's hungry. There's one thing I know about people from Australia: they are tough. So usually they got plenty of heart and they bring a good fight. But that's all I can say about it because I've never actually seen her box. I've seen Ellie Courtney box. She looks pretty tidy. Yeah, well, sorry, but she looks very good. So let's see. So she's got a good team around her as well. So I know more about her than the other one. So I can't say what's going to happen.
Peter, what is the latest with Hughie? How is Hughie doing?
Hughie's good. He's been taking he's been in a hard training camp and we've laid him off for a couple of weeks because we're waiting on a date, and we're just waiting to speak with the team about that and see when we can get him on.
Peter, going back to his victory against Marius Vac, just talk to me about that, because we saw a different side to him. We saw what you've been telling me for a long time that you've wanted to see him. He was a lot more putting the pressure on, landing shots of different varieties. He was hurting Vac all over the place. Is that the type of performance you felt you wanted to see from Hughie?
Yeah, look, his performance was good. It was just a little bit rushed at stages. So he has got power. If he'd have just settled down more and relaxed and let his feet get there before let his hands loose, he'd have took whack out. But it's another thing he's had to work on, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again because he's improved again since then. So he's constantly working, constantly improving his game now. That's the thing with fighters. You're not seeing now a fighter that does the same thing. You'll see big steps with improvements he's making with every fight he has now. He's there. I'm not saying he needs to improve to be a world champion. He's as good as what's out there right now. But I aim for perfection, and I want him to be a perfected, genuine world champion. So I'm working to that with him on a daily basis.
So you said you're working towards that with him, Peter. In your eyes, how far off do you feel Hughie is from achieving the goals that you're setting?
I think in the next 12, 18 months, he'll have everything there, So, but that's to say, he's got everything there now. I think he's almost ready. The only thing Hughie's ever had to do is take his time more, let his boxing, feel his way in, and just relax. He's always been a hard trainer, head down, wants to fight anybody, hard work pays off, but it's not just about that. You've got to use your brains. You've got to know when to ease off in the round, how to apply the pressure, not get excited, not try and do too much too early, And this is the thing. These are all things where he's had to really adjust his game like that. So then he's obviously, but now he's older as well. So it's all good for him. He's doing well. It was a good win he had with Marius Vac. Let's not forget Marius Vac come in, had a solid 10 weeks camp and thought he was going to win this fight. Thinks he's got ambitions of being a world champion again. So like I said, he trained really hard. He switched his trainers up. He had a good fight with Dillian White beforehand. So he's coming off a good fight there. So, he's not just somebody with Vac to make up the numbers. He was there to win that fight. So he's a big, dangerous, awkward fella. So he comes through that with flying colours. And it just shows you in the second half of that fight when he did relax, look how easy he made it look. That's all he needs to do. He's got skills to burn. He's just got to ease his way in. There's always different things to work on in boxing, especially when they're young.
From what you see day in, day out in the gym, Peter, compared to what we saw on Fight Night with Marius Vac, how much do you think he actually showed the rest of the public?
At best, probably about 60%. That's how much he's got more to give. That's how much he does, in the gym. When you see him in his sparring, you can see, you think to yourself, right, if he performs like this, he's there. But it's constant progression with him all the time. But he's come on a lot. and we need to get him in some good fights.
Let's talk about that. You said you want to get him in there with some good fights. Who in particular do you think would be a good step up again for Hughie? Do you think he needs to get back in there with, somebody of an ilk like an Alexander Povetkin once again, or somebody like that, or maybe in between a Vac and a Povetkin? What's the idea for you?
No, if Povetkin's not going to retire, if they could make that fight straight away for Hughie, that'd be, but only for the simple reason to correct his record. I do feel like Povetkin is over the hill, so I think if Povetkin would take that fight, Hughie take it in a heartbeat. We'd like that fight just for that reason. So it's a good fight. If that can be made, fantastic.
So who would you see as being a more competitive opponent for Hughie, who's maybe still not necessarily in and around their prime years potentially?
Listen, there's a lot of good fighters out there, but I'm not going to pick anybody. I'm not going to say anybody because the fights, unless they can be made, I'm not interested. But he's ready for all them top 5, top 10 fighters, whoever they are. It doesn't matter.
One I'm going to throw at you is Joseph Parker. We know they faced each other previously, but when the Parker Chisora fight was announced, I saw quite a few people suggesting they'd rather have seen Hughie face Joseph once again instead of Derek. Is that a fight which for you guys, obviously you got Chisora Parker to come out way, but let's say if Joseph Parker was to win, you'd be willing to get back in there again with Joseph and try to right that wrong, and you think that's more of maybe a tougher matchup for Hughie?
Of course it is. Joseph Parker's a good fighter, and we see the outcome of that. But yeah, if them fights come available, you'll take them.
Would you make of obviously Joseph teaming up with Andi Lee?
I think I don't know their business. It's it's all good. They know what they're doing, and it'll be a good fight when it happens with Chisora. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think Joseph Parker's definitely got the better boxing ability than Chisora, but Chisora brings a lot of aggression, and he is a proper all-season campaigner. So that's why it's a 50-50 fight.
Would that be Derek Chisora, somebody you guys would be interested in?
Absolutely. We're up for any kind of fight we can get at this present time. If they happen, it's a fight. It's a progression for Hughie, so he'll take it.
A few fights I want to throw to you. One which just kind of over the last couple of days built some interest is Nathan Gorman and Fabio Wardley. They've both said they'd like to face each other if the British title could become vacant from Joe Joyce. Would you be interested in seeing that? And if so, how do you think it would play out, Peter?
I would like to see that. I think young Nathan's improving all the time. I don't look at a loss as anything, or how he lost. Doesn't matter. He'll dust himself off and he'll come on. And I think that's a good fight. That's a good fight for both of them. And, that would be a good fight for the British title. I think, if Joe Joyce has still got the British, I think he should vacate it and let them fight for it.
Oh, no, another fight I just want to ask you about is Deontay Wilder and Dillian White. Dillian White, after defeating Alexander Povetkin in their rematch, said he'd like to face Deontay now. Your thoughts, Peter?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think it'd be a good fight. I think any fight that they're in, all at the top end, everybody wants to see them. So they're all good fights to be made. I hope it happens.
And then, of course, a couple of fights which have been announced. Canelo Saunders, May 8th. Do you believe Billy Joe has the style which can overcome what many consider the pound-for-pound style of boxing?
It was hard to say. He's just got to get in there, do the best he can, have no pressure, and I'm sure he'll have a fantastic training camp, and he's as good a challenger as anybody Canelo's faced. So it's winnable. Like I said the other night, he's only a man, so he's perfected his job very well. Canelo is a pound for pound great. There's no question. But everybody's got to lose sometime.
People speak about kind of the concerns of being an away fighter, travelling abroad, and with Billy Joe, a lot of people think his best chance would be via points. However, in this scenario, some people are concerned that if he did go to the cards, he wouldn't get a fair shake. Would that be a concern if say if you was in Billy's corner, would you be concerned having an away fighter stepping in there like that?
No, you're up against it when you go abroad anyway. They'll know that. He's just got to get in there, not worry about the judges, and work on his game and see how he gets on. That's all you can do. You know, he's fighting a formidable opponent in Canelo. And, you know, even putting up a good fight, he'll do himself a lot of justice. You know, never mind winning it. So, like I said, that's the kind of tall order it is. But every fight's winnable. So, can he win it? Yeah, why not?
Another fight coming up on May 22nd. Potentially Britain having another undisputed champion would be Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. Peter, do you believe Josh will overcome Jose?
I don't know much about Ramirez. I've seen Josh Taylor box. I think he's a highly talented young fighter. I think he's just getting better and better. He hasn't had many fights either, has he?
17, I believe.
Yeah, well, look what he's achieved for 17 fights. You know, this is a guy that's definitely, one for the future. I think he'll do very well. He's doing very well anyway.
And then, Peter, I just want to get your thoughts on the lightweight scene. There's a lot of hype and kind of love for that division at the minute. The likes of Gervonta Davis, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, what have you. Which two out of that current crop would you like to see face each other if you could choose, Peter?
Oh, I just like all three of them. I'm a fan of all three, so it's hard to say. You know, Lopez, my God, what a win he had. You know, full props to him. You know, tank is what he is. Highly dangerous. You know, he's got killer instinct, can take you out in one shot. He's happy to stand there, trade with you, take your punches so he can land his own. You know, he's got bad intentions, that guy. You know, he's a serious operator. And who was the other one?
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I like him. You know, good fighter. You know, the way he dispatched Luke Campbell. And, you know, look at how Luke Campbell did against Lomachenko. You know, but and he hit him with a good shot. He went down, he got up, didn't change his tactics, went straight back on him again. And, you know, young fighters like that just ooze quality for me. You know, so I think he's, I wouldn't rush Garcia though, because he's young. You know, so, but they're saying that Lopez is young. What's the age difference?
I think Lopez is only 23. I think Ryan's something similar as well.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So it's a phenomenal division. So them three, yeah, they could go in against each other and everybody'd be loving to see it, wouldn't they?
Well, would it be?
All them three you've mentioned light up the division.
Well, Peter, I will leave that there and I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate your time today.
No problem, Andy. Good speaking with you, mate.
You too, Peter. Best of luck on the weekend and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.